Alright, here we are, folks. We're here to talk to you more. Oh, wait, sorry. That was silly.
We're here to talk to you more.
That's right.
Than we used to. So here goes.
In a more regular fashion. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to our relevant weekly segment.
Currently
what
relevant.
It is. Mm-hmm. That's right. Currently relevant weekly segment. What it is. I am Kelly McKinney of Hohenheim Productions.
And I'm Josh Gibson of Fourth Wall Players.
And this time we are here to talk to you about The Walking Dead.
Oh no, a Walking Dead YouTube video. That's never been done.
Totally original.
Anyway.
But they're going to officially wrap up the original series after season 11, which, from my understanding, from a news standpoint, has been a total cluster because they went from not knowing whether Maggie was going to come back to then Maggie is going to come back. Maggie came back. Then I think they're still doing the Rick Grimes Trilogy.
Yeah,
but then
that's the last I heard.
They still haven't decided whether or not he's going to come back at the end of season 11 to wrap up the show. And so, essentially, we're going to see the end of a show that has the conclusion to what will be
an ongoing story, another medium?
An inside prequel?
Yeah.
Of what's going to happen. We're going to see the conclusion.
The Rick Grimes movies are going to be prequels.
I mean, they're going to be, what they're going to be is...
They're going to be the time he's gone, right?
That he's gone.
Okay, yeah.
But we're going to see him come back
at
the end of season 11 before the three movies show what happens when he's gone.
Yeah, that's kind of...
If my understanding of the Walking Dead...
Unless the third movie ends, like...
him escaping to go and be there?
Yeah, the very end of the third movie takes place after his season 11 cameo. I agree with you. Like, that takes all of the intrigue out of the films because you watch a zombie movie to see who lives. And if you already know that Rick Grimes is going to survive the whole trilogy...
Yes. And then also, not only that, but, like, unless he introduces us in the series to characters that we'll eventually get to know in the movies...
Right.
Then... we just have to assume that everyone that we meet in the movies is either they're going to die or they're not going to matter in our series, which we know is going to conclude.
That's a good point.
And then is either going to just fuel a spin-off series, and then they just sold us Rick Grimes in 3 movies just start a spin-off? That bothers me. It's merchant. It's just like...
Yeah, I think the only way that they could, for the reasons we just listed, the only way they can make it work bringing Rick Grimes back is if it's like a hallucination or a flashback, like someone remembers some conversation they had with him, or... a voice of his on the radio. I don't know, but something like that that's like a true cameo and not just like he's going to come back and join the party for the last episode and, whatever.
Right. Like so we have this all wholesome heart thing and it's like then all of a sudden it's Judith telling the story of everything that happened.
Right.
It's all been a book Judith wrote at the end of the world for the Commonwealth.
Or it could be like Jack's dad at the end of Lost,
Yeah, right. Yeah, something, yeah. But, like...
Don't do that.
No, don't do that. No.
I thought it was, for the record, I thought that was pretty self-evident what was going on. I feel like a lot of people were confused by the ending of Lost, and I don't know why they specifically say that they were all alive on the island, and they all died at different times, but time doesn't, matter when you're dead, so that's why in their process they're there at the same time, even though they're not.
I haven't seen Lost.
So I just ruined Lost for Kelly. Spoiler alert.
I tried to watch it.
The series finale was 10 years ago, though, so...
Yeah, no. Speaking of spoilers, though, okay, so this is a major comic spoiler for those of you. So this is another thing, is that Robert Kirkman officially wrapped up the Walking Dead comics by killing Rick, and it ended up being all a story that was told from Judith's perspective or whatever. So... Rick dies in a very different way in the comic than he did in the actual series. So the way that with what they're doing with the Walking Dead series, with all of these different spin-offs, it's confusing to me because Kirkman himself has wrapped it up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much, because I've not seen any of the spin-offs, so I don't know how many of the characters are involved in the main comic storyline. To me, I thought what was interesting about them was it was showing what was happening in the world of The Walking Dead outside of the perspective of your main group of, because they're not the only survivors because they keep running into more fucking people. So
Right.
all across the country, it's actually probably not a very effective zombie apocalypse because I feel like there's a lot of people that survive and end up just getting killed by other people. Very few
Right.
people die from zombies. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's kind of interesting is you're kind of exploring more of it. Now, I do see how that can get kind of stale. I think after a while it's like, okay, like, we don't need Walking Dead Zeta,
Right, right. Well, and see, the thing is that the way that for me, the way you keep a zombie survival horror series like The Walking Dead alive and interesting is like when they keep incorporating new characters that change the journey.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like for instance, when
Which I thought Walking
Rosita,
Dead,
Abraham, and Eugene first showed up, now all of a sudden you have somebody who is lying but says that they have the cure to the zombie virus and they need to get to Washington D.C. The whole time, our focus with this group has been staying alive.
Right.
And now all of a sudden their whole journey could change.
Right.
But yeah, it had us stretching across states, right? And it showed the difficulty of travel and like something about keeping the set constantly changing. And also like for a while it seemed to be like an incontinuity of seasons. Like there were parts of seasons where we were on the road for an indiscriminate amount of time.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 seasons in Alexandria or what, you know what I mean? Like this sort of format where the first season, I basically see the whole first season as them on the road. You know what I mean? It's like Atlanta.
It's them trying to find
it's
somewhere.
Essentially Atlanta. Yeah, it's trying to find someplace
Trying
safe.
to find shelter, yeah.
Then season 2 is them finding out the farm isn't safe, right?
The entire season, yeah.
Seasons 3 through 5
Yeah.
essentially are the prison.
Right.
Okay. I think I want to say seasons 3 through 5 because you have season 3 the prison with the governor. Then the governor.
5 is in the prison. 5 is where they go because into 4 is when the governor comes back, right, and they destroy the prison.
Yes.
And so 5 is where they go
On the road.
Go to the cannibals.
Yeah, is on the road
Yeah.
/ terminus. Yeah, and then.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then 6 is more on the road, right? Before they get to Alexandria.
6 they get to Alexandria at the end of the season.
At the end of the season. Yeah, and so like so these sort of like mixing it up like that, being able to view their journey in that sort of aspect, like to me is a beautiful and amazing thing. Like because you can track their journey from Atlanta. All the way, well, I guess up northeast into the state.
Yeah.
Like up past Macon and everything.
Yeah, they're basically
else.
going up the East Coast.
Right. And so, being able to plot out it's like for instance, when it comes to it makes me think of shooting a great action scene, okay, in film, establishing the setting, okay, like knowing where everything is in relation to what's happening.
Yeah.
Is super important for being able to bring the audience along with the action. Like in Marvel movies, when the action cuts are too close together and you have all of these, no one knows what's anything is going on. It's just a bunch of bright flashes on screen.
Right.
Whereas like in a John Wick movie, when we're following him down a hallway and he's pop, 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 and then we see him go down and then he comes back up, we have an idea of the space around him and what's going on.
Because it's not just a bunch of quick cuts. Yeah.
The way Walking Dead's story has been folded out is like the way you can view a great action scene. In that you can see their journey. You can feel and breathe in the world that they live in.
Yeah.
You can picture it.
I'd agree with that.
And I don't get that sense from the other spin-off series that they've had. Not that I've given them all their due time, but I don't get that feeling from them.
Well, because ultimately the other spin-off series, they're not there for a reason. They're just there for, they're there for a reason. It's cash grabbing. But what I'm saying is they're not trying to put a different spin on something. Like, at least from what I can tell, it's just the same story with different characters. There's still people that are running from... Now, what would make it really interesting to me is if, like, a spin-off of it was a military base of people that are going out and hunting, I don't know, just throwing that out there, hunting the Walking Dead or whatever to try to
make the place safe.
Yeah, try to make the place safe, because that's a different story than what we're seeing with people running away.
And it's a different goal than just surviving,
yes,
too.
exactly.
I actually think that's a very interesting concept to go with, too.
But it seems like they're all, like, the same goal. It's all just like, well, let's run around and try to find somewhere safe.
Right. If you could match the storytelling pace and vibe of what they started to do in the early seasons of The Walking Dead, and translate that to a new characters and setting with a different purpose, I could see our Walking Dead universe successfully living on and living up to the former series.
And another thing, and I cannot believe that I'm saying this, with spin-offs in connected universes, what the Arrowverse does well. There's not very many things. I just don't like Arrow. I like the rest of it. But with the Arrowverse, I've noticed it does well, because I've been binging all of that, is that they cross over. And not just the big events, because, we can all think of the big events, but just like, in The Flash, they'll have, one of the hackers from the Arrow show come on and help them with some, computer whiz meta or whatever. And it makes sense. Like, they all know each other well enough, and they're all introduced, and they kind of jump around on shows, the fringe characters anyway. And so it makes a lot of sense. I think they do that really well. And I'm not sure how that really works in The Walking Dead.
It doesn't, because as far as I understand,
but that's what makes it hard to have the spin-offs.
Morgan, who is on the East Coast, is suddenly with the group on the West Coast from Fear the Walking Dead.
How the fuck do you get there?
And I'm pretty sure Fear the Walking Dead is supposed to be like 8 months from before the very start of The Walking Dead. From like when
that makes no sense.
When Outbreak very first happened.
It would have made more sense if he was over there for the time in between. If it's like him and his son, and then you got to see like how his son finally died or became a zombie or whatever. Sorry, I can't say zombie. How his son finally kicked the bucket, and that's when he goes back to it's not Atlanta. They don't start in Atlanta. Wherever the small city in Georgia is, that's where he goes back there and kind of goes into his like depressive funk, where we see him again in season 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's right after Alexandria. Right after they get to Alexandria is when we start seeing.
Yeah, so season like
4. You're thinking of when Carl shoots him.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm sorry I shot you." He says, "Never apologize, son."
Yeah.
Never be sorry.
So anyway. So, are we going to talk about how we think it ends, or I think we've talked enough about Walking Dead?
Yeah, right. Okay, so, so that's a great way to end this. Predictors is what do you think is going to happen at the end of season 11, and do you think there's any chance that the spin-off series will carry enough weight to keep the Walking Dead universe alive? Leave it in the comments below.
Make sure to like and subscribe too while you're there.
Like and subscribe.
We'd really appreciate it. We need to eat.
Let us know stuff. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. You can hit the bell notification for regular updates every single time we post a new video. And in your meantime, be ready for election. Check out the merch store. As you can see, this one here says, "Here's my dick pic, #Chivalry2020, which is what you'll find it under. And subscribe to the Patreon for more behind the scenes video and a look into everything we do here at Hohenheim Productions. Thanks, bye.